Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air for our 8th season.
Wow.
And here we are in sunny Florida. We're at the PACT-TV studio. A little different change here, but we'll change things as we go along, too. But I'm Kenny Gallagher, along with Jerry Burrow. And Jerry, bear with me. I'm dealing with a little bit of illness here.
Yep.
But,
we'll make it through this.
Yeah. So here we are, embarking on a new hockey season, the 2018-19 season. Wow.
Right. And we got the Elite League going strong in Minnesota. We got the North American Hockey League, the Tier 2 Junior League going strong now. And this week, the Minnesota Wild and the Pros National Hockey League get started on their regular season. And all the colleges are getting started. And one of the big series is going to be this weekend, right up here, Saturday night. The University of Minnesota Duluth, the championship of the NCAA hockey last year against the Minnesota Gophers.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's a home-and-home series, so Saturday night at Amsoil, and then, Sunday?
Sunday night down there in the cities at Mariucci.
Yeah.
So it's a big series, even though they're not in the same conference no more, because there's not too much like with each team, because it's a rivalry.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? A national champion UMD Bulldogs?
Yes, national championships, 2017,
yes.
2018.
Yep.
And the nice thing about it, they got a lot of their players back. The defense, the back end, Shepard's coming back as a goaltender. We got Scotty Perinovich, one of the best D in the nation last year. He'll be back, and boy, I expect big things.
Well, that's good. The Bulldogs start this weekend, and they're picked number 1 by preseason by the coaches poll.
Right. It's kind of funny, the opening poll for the United States Hockey Online, they do the polls, and they got UMD number 1, but the 4 teams that were in the Frozen Four are the top 4 teams. They got Notre Dame number 2, that was a championship game last year.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, then Ohio State number 3, Michigan number 4. But locally, we got St. Cloud State number 6. We got Denver in the NCHC, which has been, they won a few championships in their lifetime. And they're number 9. And Minnesota State, right down the block from the Twin Cities, is number 10. So they're going to have a good team.
UMD women's hockey team got off to a good start. They swept Boston College.
Right. Boston College came in number 4. And they dropped to number 6, and UMD, I think, was 9. And they're number 4 now.
Yeah.
5, let's see. 4. Yeah, they moved
women
up to 4 tonight. Just came out.
Well, this is exciting. This is a good time of the year, folks, where hockey's getting started. And you'll see Jerry at the rink a lot more than I will be at the rink, but that's what he gets paid for.
Oh, I get paid big money.
Yeah,
big money. And
but I'm looking at the roster of the Wild here, and I like what I see. I see.
They're going to make some cuts, though.
I see a J.T. Brown.
Yes.
I see Zach Parise's in the lineup. Kyle Raw was put on waivers today.
Okay.
Along with is it Matt Reed? Him as well.
Reed. Okay. They got to get rid of a few players, I know.
Bartkowski was put on waivers.
Okay. Did they keep Hendricks?
Yes, I believe they did.
That's the 2 Minnesota kids they picked up.
Yeah.
Matt Hendricks, Blaine.
Hammond was put on waivers, the goalie.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's good. Staylock gets to be the second goalie.
You know, say what you will about preseason, but when the Wild beat Colorado 7-0, granted Colorado had 16 shots, but that was Staylock's victory, and I think that kind of made it hard to release them.
Well, another thing is that they don't have a lot of their key players playing in some of these games. And I was at that game, but it was good. You know, the rookies are the young kids. You know, they're trying out for this team, so they're going to give it 110%. This is their chance to make the team. You know.
You know, I say what you want, but the fact that we've got 3 games, 2 preseason games, and now the season opener against Colorado.
Yeah.
I just, there's something I don't see between this rivalry. What's missing? Maybe a playoff series.
Well, when we beat them many years ago, when Brunette was on the team,
Andrew Brunette?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
That,
right.
That
yeah.
seemed like it was a rivalry then.
Yeah,
more.
Patrick Wall
Because it
was the
went to that-
goaltender there.
It went to that 7th game, you know, and
There's something missing from
Yeah.
this Colorado-Minnesota matchup, but it seems like they're trying to jam it down our throats almost. I don't know.
I think the only rivalry I really see with the Wild right now is Chicago.
Sure.
What do you, Winnipeg?
Yeah.
I think Winnipeg's a little bit.
Nothing that really jumps out at you. I
Right.
think Chicago always will be, and Dallas. Let's face it, Dallas is the team that took
off
our original North Stars. And
What do you think of Norm Green?
what should I think of him? What is it? He's in the news or
No.
Oh,
I just thought.
we know all about Norm Green. But we're excited. Wild hockey Thursday, October 4th at Colorado. And then the Saturday Vegas game, the home opener, if you will. Wow, that's going to be huge. Saturday, Vegas comes to town on October 6th, 7 o'clock, drop of the puck.
There you go. And then next Thursday, we're talking about rivalries. Chicago Blackhawks coming into town. So 2 old UMD players, assistant managers, GMs, Norm McIver, Chicago, and Tommy Curvers now is the assistant GM.
Yeah, sure.
At the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That
And
is.
we got a new GM at the Wild too, Paul Fenton.
Sure.
He used to be the assistant over at Nashville. Nashville's been doing a good job on their player development, and they've been right up there. They're getting into the semifinals in the Stanley Cup the last few years, so
Yeah.
they've had some good teams.
Well, Eric Stahl is back for another season, coming off that big, what did he have? Was it a 40-goal season?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was 42 or 43 goals. Yeah.
You're not sure if he can match that.
Well, the pressure's
Number?
on him. I mean, people are putting pressure on him, but he thinks.
But hopefully he doesn't have to be
Right.
that guy. Now that we've got.
Who's going to be that guy, though?
Well, maybe Parisi, maybe Coyle, maybe one of these news guys, maybe J.T. Brown. Who knows?
I think some of the guys, like you said, Charlie Coyle,
Greenway.
and Niederreiter, those guys they got to pick it up because Parisi, Koivu, and Suter, they're getting up there in age, and I just don't see them putting the numbers out. I think it's going to go down a little bit each year, so I think some of these younger ones got to step it up. They've been around,
Yeah.
and now it's their time.
Hey, Jared, before we get going too much, I've got to ask you, what's the latest on Marshall hockey coach Brendan Flaherty?
Okay, just talking through some of his friends and that, he had an infection after going through the chemotherapy.
So he had cancer.
Right,
He had
throat cancer,
Yeah.
and then
But he wasn't a smoker.
no,
Yeah.
and so they're working on it, and he was doing good with the chemo and radiation, and all of a sudden he got an infection, and they said that we almost lost him. They took him to the hospital down in the Twin Cities to take care of him. He was there almost 2 months, and they brought him up here about a few weeks ago. Now he's at Miller Dwan.
Oh,
But
is he?
As
Okay.
of last week,
right.
he could not have visitors because of the infection and that.
Okay.
He just doesn't want. They doesn't want to take any chance.
So Brendan won't be behind the bench for the
Nope.
season.
Billy Owens, that was the assistant coach. He came up from St. Paul. He was an old assistant at St. Thomas Academy. Then he coached St. Paul Academy,
Yeah.
and then he came up to Marshall. Then,
Billy Owens.
yeah, Owens. Yeah.
And then, of course, we learned over the offseason, if you will, that Kevin Smalley up at Cloquet, there was some turmoil up there, if you will. He, according to the board thought that they'd go a different direction, and Smalley is out. What's the latest with Smalley? Is he?
He's working with the Minnesota Wilderness now.
Okay.
He's a scout, and he probably helped with player development too with the team.
So who's the head coach at Cloquet?
Cloquet right now is the old general manager, Dave Bolts.
No, at the Cloquet Lumberjacks.
Oh, okay. The high school is Shea Weber.
Shea Weber. Okay.
Yeah, he played at Hibbing, his high
Yeah,
school, and
all right.
Bemidji State,
Okay.
his college hockey.
Interesting.
Right. So, by the way, seeing the Elite League, the North team has all, like they have about 5 Cloquet kids, 8 East kids, another 5 Hermantown kids. So they're loaded with these teams up north. And talking to a lot of people, man, it's going to be a good section for Duluth East, because Andover will be ranked ahead of Duluth East to start the season, and Cloquet they could move into the top 10 this year. So their team is one of the better teams, you know, so they got a lot of young players, and it's going to be a good team.
Well, let's talk about some high school hockey. Of course, Duluth East is always a favorite.
Well, right now you're watching the Elite League, which is the all-star high school players that they chosen to play in this league. So you're getting the best high school players. And right now, like Southwest team, you know Minnetonka and Edina are going to be 1-2 to start the season, because there's so many players and so many talented players and players that have been committed to, like the Gophers and a lot of other colleges. They're just loaded with commitment. So those 2 teams, just a given right now to start the season 1-2. But Andover, they played Duluth East in the finals in the section playoffs, and East had to go in overtime to beat them. They only lost 1 player. They get their whole team back. So Section 7 with Cloquet and Duluth East and Andover is going to be one heck of a section. And I tell you what, I don't think you want to be 2 or 3 on seeding, because then you got 2 hard games.
Sure, yeah.
But other teams that I think are really going to be a lot better is Cretin Durham Hall. You haven't heard that team. They won the state tournament about 2007 when Ryan McDonough, that used to play for the New York Rangers, I think he's down in Tampa now, that he was on that Cretin team. And so they're a team to look at. And Hill, I think, is going to have, they're real young. It'll take a little while, but Hill's usually always good by the end of the year. And another team, St. Thomas Academy, will be real good. So it's going to be a lot of good hockey in high school this year.
How about locally, Hermantown?
Hermantown, their starting 5 is as good as anyone. But I think but it'll drop off. But here's the thing. Greenway is going to give them all they can handle again. So it's going to be Hermantown and Greenway to the end. And so if they stay healthy, that might be a big game. I think they'll play in the championship game at Amsoil when 7A playoffs get to the finals.
Well, they did this past season.
Right, and they went in overtime there.
Yeah, yeah. And who was the goalie for Greenway?
They had a Finlander goaltender.
Okay, is he a senior now, graduated now? Or?
Oh, he was a foreign exchange student, so he can only stay 1 year.
Okay, so he's out.
Yeah.
So who's in?
Well, they didn't go as far as Finland this year. They went to Ohio.
Oh, just Ohio. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't go across range to Babbitt?
They didn't go across the Atlantic or anything.
Okay.
So they went to Ohio, and they got a goalie, and he seems like he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So it'll be Greenway and Hermantown in Section 7A for sure.
Would be nice to hear a name of Broughton or Schneider or somebody from the old days, if you will, emerge on the Iron Range. But so Hermantown, Duluth East, Duluth Marshall under new
Marshall. Because they lost a couple of their key players that one went to juniors, and one's not going to play hockey because he's got a baseball scholarship and he's going to put his time into the baseball. So Marshall's going to be on the lower half of the 7 AA teams.
Let's not forget about Duluth Denfeld or.
Denfeld will be decent, but they're not going to be Hermantown or Greenway.
What does Denfeld need to do to retain their players?
I think
they're kind of stuck,
I think you got part of it right.
I don't want to say that, stuck at the Heritage, but that's their home rink.
I think what they
they can't do anything to improve that or make that different.
I think they got to get more numbers,
Yeah.
and then, like you say, part of it is keeping the players there, not the good ones taken off to Marshall or Hermantown or something like that. Because a lot of these kids now, the families just move over a couple miles away. They're in Hermantown.
For instance, Proctor. Proctor has a new facility now. Proctor's going to be good.
That's going to help them. That'll
Exactly.
keep their
Yeah,
players too
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
more. And
Have you
that's-
been up there? Have you seen any of the
No,
progress?
but I talked to the coach, Stauber, and he's really excited about the new rink. And,
Boy, you'll kind of lose sight of that with everything going on. Is that Dan Stauber
yeah,
from
got it.
UWS?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those Staubers are busy. One's going
Yeah.
for Congress, and one.
Yeah.
It's
And they all
crazy.
play hockey. That's the best part.
Right. But another thing this weekend, the Minnesota Midwest, Upper Midwest Elite League, the high school all-stars, and they have a team from Wisconsin and Shattuck, St. Mary's.
Yeah.
They'll be up here in Duluth Superior. 4 of the teams will be at Mars, Lakeview Arena, and 4 will be at Superior Hockey Arena. And so they'll be up there this weekend, and the times on Saturday morning, if you want to watch good high school hockey, up and down action, I would get over to Mars at 8 o'clock. Let's see, I got Sunday morning. Where did I put the 10 o'clock? Yeah, 10:15 I think the game is with North and Great Plains at Mars. And then there's a second game after that.
This Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Okay,
They're
so
gonna-
October 6th and 7th.
Right.
All right.
So on Saturday, they start at about 10 o'clock, 10:15 at both rinks. And then the game right
Now,
after
what
it.
is this again?
The Elite League.
Elite, yeah.
Yeah. It's called Upper Midwest
Okay.
High School Elite League.
Yeah.
And it's the All-Stars. And the Great Plains is the northwest part, a few North Dakota, but there's a team for All-Stars from Wisconsin's best players. And then Shattuck gets them from all over the country and sometimes over in Europe that come in.
So looking at this Minnesota Wilderness roster, they're already, 5 games into their season?
They got 6.
Jeez.
They're 2-4.
Luke Dow returns.
Yeah, he didn't play the first 4 games. He had an injury, and it's still not 100%. But
Tyler Watkins from Hermantown.
yeah, they just picked them up from USHL. See, the USHL is a Tier 1. That's a top junior league in USA.
Ash Altman of Duluth East.
Right.
All right. And who's this Dylan Johnson of Cloquet?
Yeah, little small kid. He was a pest all the time.
Okay.
East didn't like him. He was a pest.
All right. And then looking at defense, you've got
Hermantown kid there.
yeah, Peter Grigdahl.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, they've got an international flair here too.
Yeah, they got
Jesper
a Czech
Wickstrom from Sweden and
Czech.
Andrzej Trejab. Oh, boy, I have no idea.
This is the first time I've ever seen this in the North American Hockey League, but look at all the forwards of the Minnesota Wilderness, where they're from.
The forwards
Yep.
looks like
I've never seen that
Minnesota.
before. Every one. That's good. I
That's
like
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. Sure.
And Aberdeen only has 2 Minnesota kids. They used to have about 7, 8.
Well, I hope that the Wilderness can get things done there.
I think they're
what
starting out a
hap-
little slow, but they got a lot of good forwards, and I think they'll find, they might have to get a new D or something like that.
Again, Dave Boytz will be the head coach this year. Last season, College of St. Scholastica lost their head coach, Mark Wick. The college wanted to go a different direction, so the head coach of the Wilderness applied and got that job,
Tim Madison.
and that gave an opportunity to Dave Boytz to step in, and then his assistant will be Garrett Hendrickson, and his other assistant, Mark Vichorik of Moose Lake.
Yeah.
All right.
And Dave was the general manager of the Wilderness from day one. So he has double duty now. And by the way, this Friday night, the 2 Minnesota teams in the North American Hockey League play up at Cloquet at the Northwoods Arena. The Minnesota Magicians versus the Wilderness. So
Okay.
there'll be a lot of Minnesota flavor on both teams.
Well, the Wild start Thursday. The Gophers and the Bulldogs start this weekend. The Bulldogs will play host on Saturday, and then we'll travel to Minnesota for Sunday's game. But wow, it's going to be a full house Saturday at Amsoil Arena.
Right, and on Saturday, I think the Bulldog ladies hockey plays Minnesota too, 3 o'clock on Saturday. So.
At Amsoil?
Yep. So before the men's game.
What time's that men's game start?
At 7.
7. Okay.
3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 5:30.
We should give them enough time.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Gophers are up here, ladies and men's.
Yeah.
So
Well,
a lot
good.
of hockey up here in Northland this weekend. So in the mornings, get over to Mars or Superior Ice Arena. And
You know, I wonder what it's like for a team like the Washington Capitals, a team after the, the Stanley Cup, winning the Stanley Cup and being back in camp, and now here we are on the verge of starting the season. But Matt Niskanen had a nice little summer up on the Iron Range, and he had the Stanley Cup up there, and it was covered locally very well. But it's got to be a good feeling going back and trying to do it again.
I wonder if they finished all the beer in it.
I'm sure all the beer's been drunk and all the ice
think-
cream's been eaten. And
I know Alex did a good job. He did his share.
Alex Ovechkin. Yeah. He behaved just like a Russian.
Every time you saw him on TV, he had the he was going in there upside down, sideways.
Are they the team to beat this year?
They'll be one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they got all their players back. Tampa will be good. Nashville will be good. There's a lot of good teams.
Yeah. How about New York?
New York is in the rebuilding.
Boston?
Boston will be good. Mm-hmm. Toronto. That's a team.
Sure.
Toronto's going to be a team really.
New Jersey?
Look at, yeah, they played a good season last year too. But I think Toronto will be one of the better
Jaromir
teams.
Jagr's still in the league?
I don't know if he's still on a team yet, but damn, he's getting young, isn't he? What is he, about 45?
He was on that 91 Stanley Cup team that beat the North Stars. So come on.
27 years ago. Oh, boy. Oh, going back to the Upper Midwest Elite League, the top goal scorer in the league is Blake Biondi, the junior at Hermantown.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And then one of the top assist players is Ryder Donovan. And Ryder Donovan has a chance to be in the first round in the draft.
The NHL draft?
Yes. They had a prospect game a couple weeks
Really?
ago down in at the XL, and Jordan Leopold and Jamie Langenbrunner coached the teams, and they brought in all these kids that are considered being drafted in the National Hockey League for a prospect game. And I tell you what, there's a lot of Minnesota kids, and they played. They played pretty good. A lot of skill, man, on this. They're saying the USA 18 team is one of the best they've ever had. So there's a lot of good players, man. So something to look at. Keep watch on with some of these players that are still playing high school hockey, even. So
Yeah.
You got this kid that just is going to the Gophers, Brinkman.
Okay. All right. Ryder Donovan, there he is.
Yep, Ryder. But see, they got the size.
Yeah.
If he starts finishing the puck more,
Oh, he's going to North Dakota. Jeez.
yeah, but he hasn't signed yet. So you never know these kids sometimes if they don't like something.
What's up with who was the last Duluth East kid on UMD?
Boy, Walensky was there.
Yeah.
Toninato.
All right, sure.
So there's a few.
Yeah, be nice if there could
But
be
now
this-
they're going all these Hermantown kids.
Yeah, which is,
Now the coaches live in Hermantown.
Oh, I see. I see what's going on.
It's a neighbor team.
Uh-huh.
Now you get it, huh?
Yeah.
So then the Gophers are taking all the Edina kids. So it's going to be the Minnesota Hornets against the UMD Hawks.
Jeez.
Well,
Welcome back to another season of Minnesota Hockey Connection, our 8th season. We are here in sunny Florida amongst the trees of, where are we, Palm Beach?
Oh, sunny Palm Beach. Yeah, look at the nice trees behind us.
This is our opening set for this season. Things will change as we go along. There's been some improvements here at PACT-TV, and good improvements, and we'll change things as things go along. But wow, Jer, we're back in the saddle. It's going to be another long season, and high school hockey, Hockey Minnesota this year, Bemidji.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hockey Day, Minnesota at Bemidji, and Andover is playing Minnetonka. And I think I'm going to rank like Tonka #1 to start the season and Andover #3. So it's going to be two good teams.
Where do you have East?
Where do you have East? I'm going to put them about 5 or 6 because they're a lot better than people think.
Keeping the pressure off.
Well,
I see.
Usually I try not to get them in the top 10, let them work their way in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But everyone should go to our website, MinnesotaHockeyConnection.com, and like us. And this year we're going to do a lot. I'm going to do a lot more work where the games of the week that you should go on every level if it's in the state. And we're going to put the rankings out every week on Mondays. I'm going to rank my own high school AA and A on Sundays. And I'm sure you're going to put the wild box scores in every game. Usually you do that.
Yeah. Well,
so
we're
going to do a lot of stuff and keep up with Minnesota players at other colleges and in the pros on how they're doing. So it's going to be a lot of information on our site that you should go to. And plus we got the links to go to the other sites. So it's a lot easier than going to the site. Just go to ours and then whatever you want to go from there.
There you go. MinnesotaHockeyConnection.com. Find us on Facebook and like us there. Thanks to the staff at PACT-TV that produced this show. You've noticed some different camera angles.
Nice.
And there's going to be some changes and some, hopefully we'll call them improvements. I think they are. And we'll do it again next week. But in the meantime, again, go to our website, Minnesota Hockey Connection, the Facebook. We'll have all the content there. You can reach out to us if you have any questions or comments as well. And Jer, we'll be back here next week to drop the puck.
Right. Our 8th season. All right, Kenny.
Awesome. We'll see you next week.